he never talked about being in the war. And I remember as a little girl, I would sit on his shoulders and comb his hair, and my sister did it as well. And we would comb his hair like Hitler wore his hair. But he just sat there and let us comb his hair and never ever said anything about his feelings towards Hitler or the war or anything like that. My mother never said anything. It was just a topic that we never discussed at home. He did talk a little bit about it, and when he did talk about it, it was typically with his army buddies when they would come to visit, which wasn't very often. I remember that clearly, that they laughed all the time, but they were telling the funny stories. And it was a rare moment that they would talk about anything bad. And the time that I remember the best, and probably the time that I listened the most, I was 19 years old, and I had driven to California with my mom and dad. And on the drive back from California, we went to Idaho to see his army buddy. And I remember sitting in a chair on the side of the living room and just listening to my dad and his friend talk. And they would tell stories of what happened. They'd reminisce about things and say, oh, remember this. And then they would both laugh. And I don't think I ever saw my dad laugh more than I did that night. But it was stories about riding their bicycles into the town when they had leave for an evening. And they'd typically go to a bar, I think, and then they would tell stories about their friends or whomever that they'd wipe out on the way home and fall off their bikes because they were too drunk to ride the bike, and then they would laugh. He also talked about when they were bombed. I never heard him talk about it any other time than that one time, about being bombed and being in danger or being in a scary situation.